Let's think a little bit about sacrifices, because many people are very uncomfortable with animal sacrifice. In fact, many people are uncomfortable with eating animals. So to say using an animal for a sacrifice is just as kosher as using an animal for dinner. But then people say, oh, well, you shouldn't be eating animals for dinner. Going a little bit far afield for a moment. The world is round. Earth is round. It's not flat. I don't know if you heard about this. The earth is round. The universe is round. Everything in creation is round. Why? Because the principle of creation is circular. Everything begins with God. It descends layer after layer, step after step, further and further, until we end up with material beings who actually deny God's existence completely. But through learning, through revelation, through maturity, these material beings, human beings, eventually come around. Yes, the word is round. We come around to recognizing God and realizing that not only does he exist, but he's actually everything. So we've come full circle. Everything in creation is part of that circle, which means nothing exists to remain as it is. Everything is circling. It's in a process. So, for example, the mineral is not meant to remain a mineral forever. It's meant to be absorbed into the plant life so that mineral becomes plant, which is more alive than a mineral. So the water, the earth, the soil gives itself to the vegetable, to the plant, to the flower, to the tree, and becomes part of the vegetation kingdom. Now, vegetables, plants, so on and so forth, they're not meant to just remain in the vegetable kingdom. They're meant to be consumed by the animal, by the insects, by the birds, so that the vegetable becomes animal. Animal is more alive than the vegetable. So the circle continues. The mineral becomes the vegetable becomes the animal becomes the human. In whatever way a human being benefits from animal, the animal becomes absorbed into the world and kingdom of the human. Now, the simple consideration is animals eat animals. The big fish swallows the little fish. The lion eats the wildebeest. We're perfectly happy, content, and comfortable with that idea. When an animal eats an animal, there is nothing immoral going on. Ever wonder why that is? Why are we okay with that? But we are. Now, if we can justify an animal eating an animal, which means the smaller, weaker animal becomes part of the more sophisticated, stronger animal, or better hunter, it should certainly be okay that the animal become part of a human being. So if an animal is justified in eating an animal, a human being is certainly justified, because it's a circle. Things are moving from the bottom up, from the top down. God creates, we elevate. God sends things downward, we raise things upward, and eventually the circle is completed. So since the purpose of creation is circular, the shape of the universe follows the principle, and therefore it too is circular. Now, we haven't quite finished the circle. The mineral becomes the vegetable becomes the animal becomes the human. Then what? The human serves God and is absorbed into godliness. And so the sages told us a long time ago, Everything was created to serve the human, and the human is created to serve his creator. There is one difference. The mineral was created to serve the vegetable, and the vegetable the animal, and the animal the human. But they're not responsible. They're not obligated. They don't carry a sense of mission where the mineral wants to become part of the vegetable. That's just its nature. The vegetable doesn't want to become part of the animal, but that is its nature. So its nature is fulfilled, its purpose is fulfilled, its existence is justified when it partakes in this circle. A human being, on the other hand, carries a responsibility for fulfilling the purpose, which is to be absorbed into godliness. We have freedom of choice. Another difference is how much of the mineral world actually becomes part of the vegetable world. How much of the vegetable world is actually absorbed into an animal? A lot. Certainly not all of it. Not visibly, anyway. What becomes, ultimately, of every plant, of every flower, of every blade of grass, of every tree? When they've disappeared, where have they gone? Well, either they went into producing another tree, like the seeds of the tree that decompose in the ground and then become another tree. So it's just replenishing the species. Or some form of life is going to eat it. Maybe little creatures that we can't even see. But all of it, I don't know. Does every animal serve a human being? Certainly not. Now, serving a human being can be as food, as clothing, or even as medicine. So the idea is that the mineral, the vegetable, and the animal, they exist as pools of potential for the higher form of life. Minerals exist in abundance so that some of them will become part of the vegetable. The vegetable exists in abundance so that some of it will. So they exist as pools from which you can benefit. And that's why animals were created in vast numbers. Let the earth give forth animal life, and all of a sudden, the earth was full of animals. Only the human being was created single. One human being, Adam, divided into two, Adam and Eve. Why is that? Because we don't exist as a pool from which God can select or use some. Every human being, every individual human being, carries responsibility for their participation in something godly so that the circle is completed. Interestingly, when a human being does something godly, the entire world is elevated because the human being benefited from an animal, the animal benefited from a vegetable, the vegetable benefited from the mineral, so that all of the kingdoms are all now serving God and being absorbed into godliness. So we carry a responsibility not only for our own purpose, to fulfill the purpose for which the human exists, but in doing so, we are also fulfilling the purpose for which the vegetable, the mineral, the vegetable, the animal exist. Why the world, the universe exists. And that is like perfectly represented in an animal sacrifice. The animal has absorbed the vegetable absorbed the mineral, and now it's ready to be absorbed in the human realm by serving the human being and become absorbed into godliness. What higher purpose can any creature in the universe serve? What is higher than bringing peace between God and a human being? Bringing a sacrifice for an unintentional sin, a sin offering, brings forgiveness from God so that the human who sinned, being very human, and his creator or her creator can once again be on the same page and be partners in creation. If an animal can do that for a human being, the animal is serving an extremely divine cosmic purpose. So, the animal was not meant to remain an animal. The vegetable was not meant to remain a vegetable. The mineral was not meant to remain a mineral. Certainly the human being, with intelligence, freedom of choice, with a godly soul, certainly we are not meant to remain human. That's called transcending, to become something more than we were created to be.